success in her life because she was willing to get out of her comfort zone. In her fearless ability to try new things, she succeeded in many ways. That's why she's our #3 sales director at this conference. Independent Executive Senior Sales Director Kathy Oliveira has been a top 10 sales director nationwide. She was a runner-up to the Queen of Unit Sales for her seminar and has led her unit to the $1 million Circle of Excellence. Her highest monthly check, including cash bonuses so far, is over $31,000. And now her current goal is to finish her olive area, as in Oliveira. So she's wrapping up her NSD area this year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a member of the Emerald Go Give Area, Independent Executive Senior Sales Director, Kathy Oliveira.
Women of Faith, that's the name of my unit. Will you please stand? We are moving forward powerfully in faith. And are we afraid? Are we scared? Yes, we are. But we are courageous and we will overcome and we will build this national area. Will the rest of my future national area please stand? And you are standing right along with us, and we need you, and you are being there. You are there, and you are in faith as well. Yes, I am Kathy Oliveira, and I am building the olive area. We are ripe and ready, and we are ready to be picked this year. We are picking ourselves, and I hope you're picking yourself too, because that's how it works in Mary Kay. I met a consultant a few months back, and she said, "Oh, I recognize you." She said, "You're the one who always talks about love at career conference." And I'm not going to talk about love today, but I will tell you this. I hope you know this. Mary Kay did for sure, that love is the secret to success in all ventures. But today we're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about faith. And you know, in order to have more, you're here because you want to have more. You have to be 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 a true woman of faith. And I'm going to talk to you about what a true woman of faith is. It's different than being a woman who believes. A woman, probably most of this audience believes, you know. You believed in that chair, but you had the faith to sit in it, right? Faith is like this part of the fork. This part of the fork. That's faith. But there's these little things at the end that make it powerful and make it faith and make this a fork. Those tongs make it a fork. And many of us are like, "Oh yes, I'm a woman of faith. I go to church. I believe in God. I'm a woman of faith. I believe in myself. I believe. Oh yes, I believe." But you have no evidence. You have no evidence. You have no prongs, right? You don't have any prongs. We're going to talk about that. Or maybe your prongs are like, you have one prong. Here you go, one prong. It's not a fork. Maybe your prongs are like little teeny little fork, like that. Okay, you got to get those things. So what are those little things? What are those prongs? Okay, I was thinking about it. I think that this prong right here is the prong of courage. Prong of courage right here. You heard me say that we're moving forward in faith, and you know what? We are afraid. We are afraid. It's always scary, you guys, to take a stand for greatness. It's always scary. If you're not scared, then you're not living in faith. If you're not scared right now, if you're not scared tomorrow, if you're not scared the next day, a little bit scared, then you are not in faith. Because you don't have courage, because you're not taking a stand. stand. I know you want to take a stand. You wouldn't be here if you didn't want to take a stand for your life, for your family, for what you can get with Mary Kay. You wouldn't be here. So, if you proclaim to be a woman of faith, you need courage because you are in battle. We are in battle as a national area. We are in battle. But you know what? We have courage. We have courage. Right? Okay, so then the second prong is perseverance. Perseverance. Okay, I'm going to talk about that too. Staying the course. And the third one, if you have faith, then the result should be that you are not worried and you have a peaceful and you have such a joyful journey. Such a joy just like springing out from you. And worry should just not be anything that you do if you have true faith. Faith is an action. It's not a belief. You are already women of faith. You started Mary Kay, right? Remember how scared you were? And remember, many of you started with inventory. Remember how that was a step of faith? Remember that? And remember, you stepped out and you did a party, maybe 2, maybe 16. I don't know how many you did, but you stepped out in faith. Let's keep stepping out in faith. Okay, so the first prong, courage. Oh my goodness. I can remember earning my first car and being so scared, and my director called me from New Jersey and she said, you can do it, and I just remember kind of being like miffed, like, well, you're not doing it, I am, you know, it's like, what's that going to do for me? You can do it. So I'm like, I was so scared, and you know, my heart was pumping, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to come together. That's faith. I don't know. You don't know how you're going to earn a car. That's faith. But are you going to take a stand of courage? Or are you just going to believe that you can get a car? I'm going to believe I get a car. Yeah, of course. You see all these people getting a car. But are you going to take a stand and be courageous? I remember running around in those days. You had to gather the money. And I was running around, and I was calling and calling and calling and calling and calling and running. And oh my goodness, probably seconds before the lady was to leave to take the money up to the center up in Costa Mesa, I had it there. You know, the emotion that you get from those places that you've been, that you have stepped out in courage. And I remember driving up the 15. And my husband called on the phone and he said, hi, Kathy. And I said, or hi, honey, probably. I said, hi. He's like, guess what? I knew there was something. He said, I quit my job today. He was so happy. I was so scared. That's a step of faith. That's a step of courage. That's real faith. That's really faith, right? And I'll tell you, even though I was scared, I felt alive, and I felt that feeling that comes when you have true faith. True faith. It's scary, but it's so exhilarating. You feel so alive, and I would encourage all of you to get to that place where you step out and you have to rely on your courage, and you just fight and you do it. And he's been home for 11 years, and he has a life of his dreams. And who's to say that Mary Kay and me working Mary Kay didn't save his life? Very stressful job with the federal government, working with pre-trial investigator. I'll tell you what. Stand in courage. I remember being at leadership conference one year, and this lady, fabulous $1 million director, was up here, and she was saying, well, if you want to be a $1 million director, you need to run your office like a $1 million director would. And I was convicted because I didn't have the help to support a $1 million director. So what did I do? I acted courageously in faith, and I hired help before I could afford it. That's faith. That's faith right there. That's faith. You don't wait until you can afford it. You step out. Do you see the difference? That's faith. That's when you You earn the title Women of Faith because you're stepping out courageously. When you don't have the money, when you don't see what the future is, that's faith. It's courage. It's courage. Okay, perseverance. Oh, by the way, I did become $1 million director after that. That's what happens. You know what? God honors faith. I mean, when true faith, that's 100% in. My husband wasn't going to go back to his job. I wasn't going to get that money back from the help I had hired. No, you're over the bar. It's exciting, it's exhilarating. You should try it often, and me too. All right, so next, perseverance. Perseverance, that's that third, the middle one, okay? Perseverance, persevering. Well, when was the last time you felt like giving up? I know there's some here today that are thinking about giving up, right today, and you still came to career conference for whatever reason, and you are thinking about giving up. Some will leave this career conference, even having heard my message, and you will give up. You will quit. Some a year. Some will sort of fade away so nobody notices their lack of faith. Nobody notices that they lost their dream and their vision. So sad. Well, I'll tell you what, I've thought about quitting. I remember being a consultant and getting confirmation that guests were going to come and sitting out there in the cold and just waiting. Waiting. Half the meeting's over, I finally relent and go into the meeting. I was sure they were going to come. But did I quit? No, I didn't quit. And if you have a dream, if God gave you a dream, and I know many of you, probably most of you, I would hope, have a vision of your future in Mary Kay. And if God gave you that vision, don't you think, since you've already been there, that you can go there again? Yeah, but you have to persevere, because it doesn't happen sometimes in the time that we want it to happen, right? So we need to persevere. And I'll tell you what, if you are a true woman of faith, got the faith, and you're a true woman of faith, then you're not going to worry, and you're going to be filled with joy. And I don't know if everybody in the audience believes in God, but I do. And I don't know if you think about God and perceive Him as the same way that I do. But for those of you who do, I believe that I can cast my cares on Him, and because He cares for me. So, if I believe that, then, why would I worry? Seriously, why would I worry? I went to a Young Life camp when I was young, and I'll never forget this. It made a deep impact on me. It was Young Life it was a wonderful camp up in Canada. Anyway, I went there, and this guy said, well, if you have to worry, then at least don't spend the day worrying. It takes up so much energy, just to worry. And he said, well, just write down your worries. Just write them down on sheets of paper and cut them up and just put them in that worry box. And then, once a day, take however long you need, 15 minutes, maybe an hour, perhaps 2 hours, and just intensely worry. Just confine it to a certain amount of time so it doesn't spread out throughout your day. Just do that intense worrying, in one segment of the day. And of course, I thought that was absurd too. And at that moment, years ago, I just decided not to worry and to trust God that He's going to take care of everything. And I really do. I remember just a year ago, I was riding in a train. I went in the train and I go to the conductor. I'm like, I have my little red Mary Kay suitcase that I won as a star consultant, and I'm dressed all cute and everything. I'm like, this is my first time in a train. Seriously, the guy's like, okay, get seated right over there. But anyway, I'll tell you the story so you'll get it. But anyway, so I sit down, I'm like, wow, this is a train. And I'm driving along, and then they stop at Washington, D.C., and they said, oh, a break, you know. So I get out of the train, and I go and get breakfast. It's so beautiful in Washington, D.C., and I'm having my breakfast. And then I look around at the different shops and such, and then I go, I think it's about time for my train. Wow, it is about time. And I look out, I'm like, where did my train go? I had left my date book on my seat. I had left my little red luggage that had all my thousands of dollars of diamonds in it. And they couldn't get a hold of anybody on the train. But you know what? I wasn't worried. I knew. I didn't, there was no way of getting that stuff. But see, you know what was cool? That I had made such a little big deal, like, this is my first time on the train. So when it finally got to New York City and stuff, Grand Central Station or whatever, somehow it got fixed up. But I tell you what, this is the truth. This is the truth. I miss a plane, I miss a train, I don't care what it is. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what God has in store. I really mean that. Because there's always really amazing, exciting things. And it's true, and I think if you have really faith, it's all good. You should, try that. And joy. Joy. I know that I am blessed, and I know that God loves me. And if I know that, why would I not be joyful? And I'm not meaning like happy, like, hey, I'm so happy I'm here at career conference. This is the circumstance, and I'm happy, and it's good. But tomorrow, I'm not good now, because, if you have joy, if you have faith in God, and you believe the way that I do, qualifying that a bit, then you're going to be joyful. And I'll tell you what, you can see joy. If you don't think people can see joy versus happiness, you're wrong. And you know you're wrong because you can sense if a person is in joy or just like, happy, whatever. So,
you're always doing it.
So, your life. It's your life. And I'll tell you why this is important. All these things are going to help you with your business. Courage, perseverance. Did you know the bamboo tree?
Yep.
Perseverance, I forgot to tell you that. The Chinese bamboo tree is supposed to be the most beautiful of trees. And do you know for 5 years the farmers go and they water that tree? For 5 years, every single day, and they can't even skip a day. Did you know that? And the tree grows a little tiny. It's not even a tree, it's like a little teeny. And then in 5 months, it grows 20 feet.
Wow.
That could be you. That could be you. Have faith. Your time is coming. Your time is coming. So in closing, I would just encourage you guys, have faith. It will help your business so much. You'll become like a people magnet. When you don't worry and you have joy, guess what? People want to be with you. You're like a magnet, okay? It makes such a huge difference in your business. And so I would just encourage all of you to join Kathy's Women of Faith, the Olive area. As we stand for faith, as we're building a national area, build one of your own. But it starts with faith, but then you got to have the 3 prongs. Will you do that? Will you join us?